everyone, and welcome to Ohio Valley Couponer. Today it is Thursday, September the 5th of 2024, and I'm coming at you guys with another video. And for all of my Kroger shoppers, couponers out there, you are going to want to stay tuned. Also, if you're an Albertson shopper or a C&S warehouse grocer shopper, you're going to want to stay tuned as well, because this will ultimately impact both of those chains. And remember, these are also affiliates. Like Albertsons, they have Safeway, Vaughn's, Tom Thumb, Jewel Osco. There are different stores that Albertsons owns that just have different names. These would also fall in this. So yeah, basically what is going on? So for the last couple of years, Kroger has been working on a merger with the grocery chain Albertsons. And like I said, that includes all affiliates. So what Kroger has been trying to do is they are trying to merge the two companies so that Kroger owns all of their stores and then all of the Albertson stores and their affiliates. Both chains agreed to this and have been actively trying to pursue this merger ever since.
I want to talk about it because there are two very popular couponing stores. And what would this mean from a couponer's perspective? That's kind of what I want to talk about today. As we've seen, Kroger's bought out tons of different stores over time. And they basically just rebranded them as Kroger stores. They've kept them with the same name. So if you have an Albertsons in your area, it'll probably stay named as an Albertsons, but it will have Kroger brands and the Kroger sales. So again, this is just what likely will happen. Obviously, none of it's happened yet, but this is likely what will happen based on Kroger's, previous history with buying up stores. They'll keep the store name just because that's what your state or your city is familiar with, but it'll basically become a Kroger store. So it'll be like a Kroger affiliate. They'll have the same sales and stuff like that. A thing that would also be positive in this is something I've heard is that they're saying if Kroger owns this much like market share in the grocery stores, they would have more like power to lower prices, if that makes sense. So since they would have all that like market share, they could potentially afford to buy more things in like even more bulk and would be able to price things lower. That's something I've heard. On the flip side of that though, if there's not as many grocery store options, something I've heard is that they might not run as many sales and they might focus more as an everyday low price model like Walmart. That's something I've read online.
In fact, the Federal Trade Commission actually shares that concern as well, saying that if Kroger and Albertsons merge together, this would eliminate competition and would lead to higher prices for millions of customers, because Albertsons and Kroger, they are probably the two biggest grocery chains out there. Especially in areas where you have both stores, you would lose that competition because each of those stores are doing loss leader deals. So Kroger's CEO just today is insisting that prices will be lowered if the two merge. But, who's that going to benefit? It might lower the everyday price that Kroger or Albertson stores have, but they won't have to do as good of sales to be able to draw you in since there's not as much competition, if that makes sense.
Again, none of this has happened yet. This is just kind of speculation and a possibility. So that could be a good news, bad news situation. It'll be interesting to see if this merger goes through, what kind of marketing and what kind of pricing they'll do. They would have the potential to buy more things in bulk and have lower pricing, but I would be kind of bummed if Kroger switched to an everyday low price model like Walmart. So it'll be interesting to see that, but that is something I've read online that could be a possibility. And a kind of a flip side here, we kind of talked about it having less options. So if you have a Kroger and an Albertsons in your area, you've been able to kind of do the deals at both stores. They each have different sale models. I know that like Albertson stores have the Just For You coupons, which are like digital coupons with really low prices. Like I've seen them do that for a lot of people. And obviously if you're Albertsons, it gets bought by Kroger, you're not going to have that anymore. You're just going to kind of have the same Kroger sale. Kroger and Albertsons both want to do it. It's kind of just now if the government's going to allow it, because they are able to stop. Like Walgreens literally tried buying out all the Rite Aid stores. And they actually weren't allowed to do that. They were going to buy every single one of them, but the government blocked that. Like they could only purchase some of them. The government wouldn't let them buy all of them. What happened was Walgreens bought out some of the Rite Aids. So they kind of narrowed it down by states. Like some states still have Rite Aid, but some states don't have any Rite Aids anymore. Like Walgreens bought all of them out and closed a bunch of them or converted them.
It is looking like that same kind of thing is going to happen with Kroger and Albertsons if they do end up going through with this merger. Is they've actually come up with a list. The FTC blocked the Kroger and Albertsons merger just because it would be too much market share for one company to have. So they have blocked the merger, but Kroger has kind of come up with a proposal that they would sell off over 500 stores to C&S Wholesale Grocers, which I guess is a store. So basically what would happen is if Kroger acquires all these, they're going to sell off all these stores. So there's a list going up on the screen. All these different either Albertsons owned or Kroger owned stores. Kroger would acquire them all and sell off all these locations to C&S Wholesale Grocers, and they would then have the possession of the store. So Kroger's trying to reduce the amount of stores that they would own so that the FTC will approve this deal. And with Rite Aid and Walgreens, when they did that, it finally did end up getting approved when they, kind of narrowed down the list so Walgreens wouldn't own quite so many. So just by looking at this list, a lot of Safeway stores, Mariano stores, Cars, we do have some Albertson stores, Tom Thumb, a lot of Safeways. These would actually, if they're on this list and the FTC does approve this plan, these stores would no longer be Albertsons or Kroger. They would be C&S Wholesale Grocers. So we're adding a third grocery store in the mix. This is crazy. Kroger and Albertsons have been trying to do this merger for a couple of years now, and it is just so large that it has continued to be blocked. Kroger and Albertsons are still fighting for this to be done. They're even in court. They literally were in court yesterday. Kroger CEO testified saying that prices will go down. So that is what they are saying. It's going to be interesting to see if that actually works out in our favor or not, but, kind of basic understanding of less competition is usually not a good thing. So it's going to be very, very interesting if the FTC, unblocks this or whatever and accepts Kroger's proposal to sell off a bunch of stores to C&S, and if that's, enough for them to approve this merger.
It's going to be interesting to see how this pans out. Clearly they want to do it, but will the government allow it? We'll see if it'll be a thing like Walgreens, where they were only allowed to purchase a certain percentage, or if the government will flat out deny the whole deal, or if they'll approve it.
And that is what they're trying to work out right now in court. And like they are saying here, $25 billion deal. And this is saying the two companies proposed would be the largest supermarket merger in United States history for $25 billion, which is just insane. The FTC, like I said, they are arguing that this is going to raise prices, but Kroger and Albertsons are saying this would not raise prices, but would make them on a level of Walmart and Costco, which personally I don't want. I like that Kroger has to do sales, more so get people in the door. The crazy good deals they offer, they by far beat the everyday low prices. I say that in air quotes here, everyday low prices of Walmart. And so losing that would really suck. And that's what the FTC is saying, that it would eliminate competition and we are going to pay more for it in the end. Maybe they'll lower their regular prices, but the sales, they're not going to be beat, because these two large supermarket chains are basically competing to see who has the better deals to get customers in the door, and losing that would hurt customers. So I don't know. This is very, very interesting. They sure are trying to work this out, but it has continued to be blocked for the last 2 years.
Really going to be interesting to see. Guys, that's all I got for this one. I hope you did enjoy, and thank you so much for watching.